Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today you're in for a special treat, a special edition for business owners from yours truly, Pastor Troy Wynn Sr., the CEO of Wynn University. I've been very fortunate over the last few years to be able to help many business owners and many entrepreneurs understand successful business strategies so that they aren't just in business, but their business is booming and growing. Today, I want to take a few minutes to share some wisdom and insight with you as I talk about 5 mistakes most business owners make. 5 mistakes most business owners make. Are you ready? Let's go. In business, most people will tell you that businesses have their challenges, especially when you're the owner of that business. It's easy to get a business license. It's easy to start a business. It's easy to get a business name. It's easy to do all of the physical things that one has to do to start a business. But I've discovered that a lot of people in business lack the basic fundamental understandings of how to help that business thrive, how to help that business grow, and how to help that business really be the catalyst that their family can look forward to in the many, many years to come. Now, I want to share something with you today that I hope you can receive because I'm a businessman who is also a consumer and a customer of other businesses, and I draw a lot of my wisdom and knowledge from my personal experience as being a businessman, but also as being a customer. Just recently, I had 2 incidents that it's probably the impetus for me even doing this particular coaching right now for business owners. One incident I had with a business owner, he and I were involved in a business transaction. I was purchasing something from him, something that of significant value, large ticket item. We had agreed on a price, and he was to send me the invoice. I was to pay the invoice that we had discussed, and then the transaction would be complete, and I would receive what I had purchased from him. He sent me the invoice, and when I looked at the invoice, all I could do was laugh. Because instead of the invoice reflecting the price that we had discussed, he had taken it upon himself to add some fees that we had not discussed. And these were not minimal, minor fees. These were fees that amounted to several thousand additional dollars. And I looked at it and I was like, there goes another one. Another business owner who doesn't understand basic fundamental principles of business trust and business transactions. A few weeks ago, I had another situation where I was doing business with a local business owner, and I didn't have to do business with him. I actually chose to do business with him because I wanted to help support his business. I wanted to be a blessing to him. So we had a business agreement. He was to do a job for me. And to show him how much I believed in him, I paid him up front for the job he was supposed to do, which is something I normally don't do. And then on top of that, I gave him a tip. I gave him a generous tip so that he could expedite the work for me and make my job a priority so that I could get it back in stellar fashion in an expeditious way. He received the tip, understood the instructions, and I walked away, waiting for the job to be done in an expeditious manner. Well, number one, he did not do the job in an expeditious manner. Took longer than he promised. And when I went to receive the product that I had purchased, the job that he was supposed to do for me, I said to myself, here's another one, because the job that he did for me was subpar. It wasn't me being picky. It wasn't me being bougie. It was the lack of attention to detail. In a business where detail matters as it relates to what he does. So I said, okay, I called him. I said, hey, man, this is not up to standard. It's not up to par. And the reason why I know it's not up to par is because the person I normally do business with for this particular product and services, they've done this for me several times. And I know what excellence looks like. I know what the attention of detail looks like. And I pointed out the different areas where somebody just wasn't paying attention. What was crazy, though, when we went to receive the product, he was proud of his work. He was proud to give it to me. He was proud of what he was handing me. And it was obvious to me after when I looked at it, I recognized that people have different standards and values of what excellence represents. Trust me, I'm going somewhere. It's not over. So I'd say, let's do it over. Let's redo it. Let's fix what wasn't done properly. He says, yeah, I'll take care of you. I'll do you right. I give him a few more days to do that. I go and get the product the second time, the work that he was supposed to do. And you would think that everything would be perfect. You would think that he would have taken the time to go over the areas that I covered and even the ones I didn't, just to look for the areas where detail was lacking. And believe it or not, he did not. So I said to myself, having had many experiences like this, having spoken to many people, customers who deal with business people, and sometimes get very frustrated because when you pay for something, all you want is what you pay for. So I want to encourage business owners, wherever you are today, if this finds you, I need you to sit down for just a few minutes and listen to what I have to say, because I'm going to share with you 5 mistakes, and these are common mistakes that most business owners make. And these are 5 mistakes that you don't have to make. And these are 5 mistakes that if you don't make these mistakes, I promise you, your business will be prosperous and your business will grow. I want to put some stuff on the screen because I actually want you to see this with me as I go through this step by step. And I want you to take notes, and I want you to let me share something with you that can transform your business. Here's number 1. You can't outwork unfavorable word of mouth advertisement. That's where this starts. You can't outwork unfavorable word of mouth advertisement. What does that mean? That simply means that you have to be very mindful that word of mouth is the most powerful advertisement on the planet. Yeah, we can buy commercials and we can do billboards and we can do flyers and we can go on the radio. But the number 1 way to grow a business successfully is through word of mouth. It's also the number 1 way to destroy a business, because every interaction that you have with the customer will determine what that customer repeats and regurgitates about their experience with you and your business. And I find far too many business owners who, for some reason, seem to have a very nonchalant attitude when it comes to what people are going to say about them in their business or the interaction that they've had with them in exchange for products and services. And you have to understand that people are going to talk. And yes, sometimes people will exaggerate and sometimes people will even lie. But you must really be mindful when people are saying the same thing over and over again about you and your business. You have to be mindful of those experiences that may not go the way that you planned, because yes, the customer may not always be right, but the customer is always the customer. And if they're not your customer, they'll be somebody else's customer. And I've heard business people say, well, I don't care. Let them go be somebody else's customer. And that would be fine if that's the end of it. But when they begin to speak about their experience pertaining to your business, if it is not positive, if it is not insightful, if it's not helpful, over a matter of time, there's what's called the domino effect. And I know we never worry about one customer, but one person can tell one person, and then that one person tells 2 people, and see so forth and on. You see how after a while, you've got a whole gang of people who are saying they had a bad experience with you, and all of them are saying the similar thing. See, I need you to understand this, and I want you to catch this, and I want to put it on the screen because you've got to see it. Businesses are built and buried by the owner's responsibility. And I put responsibility in quotation because I want you to really focus on responsibility, which means the ability to respond, which means how you respond to complaints. And this is one of the most common issues that I find that many business owners need to work on. How you respond to complaints. And listen, I'm in business. I've been in business for many years. I understand business. No business owner likes complaints. We really sometimes don't know how to process it. And oftentimes the mistake we make is we take them personal, or we think people are just being nitpicky, or just folks are hard to please and blase, blase, blase. But when you go into business and your business requires you to deal with the public, then there is the responsibility that you have as an owner to be mindful how you respond matters. And I'm not talking about how you respond verbally. I'm not just talking about that, though we are including verbal response. I'm talking about how you respond to issues that may not be satisfactory to the customer, how you respond to expectations, how you respond to feedback as it relates to your product and your services. And many business owners would do themselves a tremendous favor not to take it personal, to have an ear to hear so that they can learn and leverage that information so that the next time they deal with that customer or another customer, that issue is not repeated. Here's number 3. And number 3 is the one I'm probably most excited about because it's one of my favorites that I love sharing. I've been sharing it for a long time and it has helped a lot of people. Here's number 3. There are 3 phases every business owner needs to understand. 3 phases: failing, selling, and scaling. Now, I really enjoy this part here. 3 phases. Phase number 1 is a failing business. In other words, you're in business, but you aren't making a profit. You're in business, but you're losing money. You're in business, but that ship is sinking, and it is sinking fast. And I know what it's like to have a failing business. It can be frustrating and aggravating. But there's another phase of business that you must also be mindful of. It's the selling business, SAILING. And the selling business is where most people thrive to be. Selling business is where things are going well. You're keeping your head above water. And you may not be making a whole bunch of money, but you're not losing a lot of money either. You're breaking even and you're making an occasional profit. You're doing all right. Things are going well. The business is healthy. The business is growing. The business is selling. The wind is blowing and you are riding the wave of that business. But I told you there are 3 phases of business that every business owner needs to understand. The first is a failing business. The second is a selling business. And then the last is a scaling business. And the scaling model is where those of us who are progressive and understand that there is always room for growth. We understand that there is always room for bigger and better things. Then you don't just settle for a selling business, but you have your sights set on how can I scale my business? In other words, how can I make this bigger? How can I make this better? How can I make this more successful? Because I don't just want to settle for selling. I want to be the business that is scaling. Now, I will tell you this, that the failing business and the selling business are very close to each other. If you've ever been in business, you know that to be the truth, that a failing business and a selling business is very close to each other, because oftentimes if there is something happening in the economy, you're going to feel it, and you're going to feel it fast. If you get enough complaints that are negative and your reputation of poor service, poor product delivery, poor communication, poor business practices starts to spread, you're going to feel that pretty fast. The scaling business is the model that every business owner should at least keep in mind. Because when you have the scaling business in mind, you always have an ear open for how can we do what we do better. You always have an ear open to learn from your customers, even those that may not have been 100% satisfied with you or the services that you rendered, because that customer can give you wisdom and knowledge that you can leverage to take your business to the next level. Understand the three phases of business: failing, selling, and scaling. And understand that you have the power to prevent a business from failing. You have the knowledge to help a business sell, but you're probably going to need a little help figuring out how to help a business scale, which is why I always encourage business owners to make sure you step outside of yourself and you acquire a coach. You acquire somebody who can guide you. You acquire somebody who can look at your business from a different perspective. Sometimes all you need is a fresh set of eyes to look at your practices, to look at your procedures, to look at the way things are going. Because oftentimes we're so close to the business model, we're so close to the business because we're in it, we own it, we feel every pain of it, that sometimes we miss the very things that might be right in front of our eyes, which is why a fresh pair of eyes can be one of the best things you can do. To have somebody say, I want to look at your business. I want to study your module. I want to see what the issues are. I want you to tell me what your issues are. Tell me what your complaints are. Tell me what your problems are. Tell me what your challenges are. And then the two heads come together to figure out, how can we take that data and make this business a scaling business? Here's number 4. This is one of my favorite ones as well. I live and breathe this business principle. I've been living and breathing it for years. And when I tell you, of all the principles that I practice in business, this one has benefited me in a way that is unbelievable. Number 4, make it your business motto and business mantra to underpromise, but always overdeliver. Now, this sounds so simple that most people will hear it and really not get it. To make this your business motto and your business mantra, that we underpromise, but we always overdeliver. I remember when I incorporated this some maybe 25, maybe 30 years ago. In any business practice I was involved in, this became my motto. And it wasn't something that I would say out loud. It was just something that I would hold my feet to. It was something that I would make myself accountable to personally when I was engaged in speaking, when I was engaged in a business, when I was engaged to do something that required my skills and my talent. I said to myself, always underpromise, but you make sure if you don't do anything else, you always overdeliver. And when I tell you this has opened more doors for me than I can really articulate, it has, because we are in the perfect season. We're in the perfect era of business where this can do wonders for any business owner that will embrace it. Here's why: because customer service right now is at an all-time low. Customer satisfaction right now is at an all-time low. And if you've ever done business with anyone recently, if you've ever even gone out to eat at a restaurant, if you've got your car serviced, if you've paid anybody for their products or their services, 9 times out of 10, you have had not 1, not 2, not 3, but you've had a consistent series of experiences where people want your money, but they don't want to deliver good services and good products. How many times have you gone to a drive-through restaurant, placed your order, articulated what you wanted? It was written down, typed in the computer. They told you what it cost. You paid what it cost. You trusted them to be able to comprehend the language that you were speaking. They even repeated the order back to you. You gave them the money. They gave you the order. You drove home all the way across town, only to discover that there was something missing from your order. And you do what we do. You check the receipt, because maybe they didn't charge you for the thing that they didn't put in the bag. And 9 times out of 10, they did. This is so common that this actually happened last night to us. My wife drove all the way across town, and I literally mean all the way across town to a particular restaurant. She'd called in an order, got there, paid for the order. They repeated the order back. Everything was clear communication wise on the orders she had placed. It was dinner for me, dinner for her. She trusted them to give her what she'd paid for. She trusted them to give her what was on the receipt, item by item. It was all there. She drove all the way across town back home. We sat down and got ready to eat, and my order was complete and full, but the order that she had placed for herself was lacking and missing. And it wasn't just missing like a side salad. It was missing the main course. She checked the receipt, and sure enough, she had been charged for it. This is not an uncommon experience in the world of business. So what business owners must recognize is that this is what I call the perfect storm. I pray that you can hear what I'm telling you, because any business owner that will listen to what I'm saying today and incorporate these principles in your business, I guarantee you will experience a turnaround and you'll experience increase in profitability. What's the point? Under promise, over deliver. Now you might say, Pastor Troy, what does that mean in business terms? I'll tell you exactly what it means in business terms. Give people more than they expect. Give people more than you promised. And here's the problem with most business owners. Most business owners have a horrific habit of over promising and under delivering. I'm sure you've had this experience where, man, they talk the best talk you've ever heard. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take care of you. You ain't got to worry about it. Trust me. I'm good at this. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for so long. I'm the best in the business. The talk is immaculate. But when it's time to analyze the results, when it's time to analyze the experience, oftentimes there's a tremendous gap between what was promised and what was delivered. That's because they have a mantra of over-promising and under-delivering. Now, some people say, "Well, I can't overpromise because that sounds like that sounds like you're telling me that I should just not tell people what I'm going to do." That's not what I'm telling you. You tell people what you're going to do, but whatever you say you're going to do, make sure you do more than what you said you're going to do. That's what I'm telling you. You must articulate what you're going to deliver, and you must articulate how well they're going to be pleased with your services. You have to articulate that, but understand that that's not what we give the customer. That's not what we give the client. We give the client just a little bit more than they expect. Here's why this matters. If you do this as a business practice, a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, your customers and your clients are going to come back to you. Why? Because you exceeded their expectation. And I told you, we're in a perfect storm for business owners right now, because when I tell you that's rare, when was the last time you had a business experience where somebody in business exceeded your expectations? Yeah, that's what I thought. Now, when was the last time in your business experience that you had an interaction with a business owner or a company or corporation and they under-delivered? You see my point? Now, business owners have to be mindful enough, number one, to care about what I'm teaching. Because if you only care about your reputation, if you only care about being right all the time, if you only care about showing people who the boss is, I will tell you this, that your lifespan in business is either going to be short-lived or it's going to be unprofitable. And the reason why I say unprofitable, because oftentimes people stay in business for 10, 20, 30 years, but they're unprofitable. Yeah, they've got a business and they got a business card and they got a moniker on the building, and they got vehicles with their business logo on the side. But a lot of times those folks are also unprofitable. Makes no sense to be in business and be unprofitable when all you have to do is practice these premium principles and make them a part of your business construct, and you will have people flocking to you. Why? Because you are delivering something that is now rare in this day and age. I'm going to say this and go on to number 5. Make it your business model. Make it your business mantra to do what? Under promise, but always deliver. And so you know that I'm done. Here's my outro music. Number 5, as we talk about 5 mistakes that most business owners make. Number 5, when you hear the same complaint, from a series of different people, you have a problem that you must fix before that problem restricts your profits or truncates your future. Woo. How many times in business do we hear the same problem over and over again from different people? And I know many business owners, they have a habit of just chalking that up to customers being fickle and people being picky. But if a series of people have the same complaint and these people have not spoken to one another, you need to understand something. You got a problem that needs to be fixed. Get out of your feelings. Don't take it personal. And see the opportunity that's staring you right in your face. Because if you can fix a complaint that is common among people as it relates to your business, you can go from failing to selling to scaling your business. And these are 5 of the most common mistakes that business owners make. Have you been blessed by this? Does this information help you? Does it open your mind? If it does, I want to ask you to do something. Number one, I want you to share it with any business owner that you know. I decided to do this today because I know so many businesses that are in dire need of training, dire need of coaching, dire need of a fresh pair of eyes. And I've had some people say, Pastor Troy, I would get a business coach. I would bring you in as a business coach, but I can't afford it. My business is struggling. It's failing. I don't even know if I'm going to make it the next 2 or 3 months. And I hear that a lot. So today I said, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll give you a session, absolutely free, and we'll see what you're going to do with it. Now, for those of you that benefited from it and you're financially able and you see the value, I only like to deal with people that see value and understand value. You just listen to it and you're like, man, thank you, Pastor Troy. Thank you for the business coaching. I needed to hear that. If you got something out of it, I want to ask you to do me a quick favor. If you benefited from it, scan the QR code and make a donation of appreciation. These are the kind of things that I teach. I travel to businesses and corporations and companies. And when I do this, it makes a difference. When people hear this in this language, people say, man, it makes so much sense to me now. Do me a favor. Scan the QR code. If it blessed you, if it spoke to you, if it helped you. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you're doing all 5 of these, and I'm talking about if you're making all 5 of these mistakes, you really should appreciate this video. If you're making one of these 5, understand that it only takes one to ruin your business. It only takes one to take your business away from you. And we're in business, number one, to make a difference. We're in business to be successful. And we're in business to leave a legacy to our children and our families. Anybody can get in business, but it takes wisdom and knowledge to stay in business and to have a thriving business that's growing, that's successful, and that has a great reputation. Also, if you're in the market for training of any type, understand that we do business coaching. We also do leadership training. And if you're interested in bringing us in to talk to your staff, your team, you can text us at 213-444-3733. The number's on the screen. Invest in your business. Invest in your training. Invest in your people. And see the difference that it makes. Well, listen, this has been Pastor Troy Wynn Sr., the CEO of Wynn University, sharing with you 5 mistakes most business owners make.